That it is. There we go. Okay. At what point did I notice? That's fine. So I am the host of the Weekend Game Show, where I educate on and discuss different aspects of game development to show why video games can take years to make to prevent another Cyberpunk 2077 launch scenario. And one of the ways I do this is with the Let's Read Some Shit videos. They used to be streams where I read aloud portions, emphasis on portions for DMCA and copyright reasons, of a couple of books regarding video games, their creation, their impact on the world, to show the legitimacy of video games as an artistic medium, and or whatever I feel like reading at the time. In addition, I also hope to promote literacy as a whole. I also provide artist shoutouts to human artists to combat AI art theft. All of them can be seen on the Become Empowered Instagram, all one word, one E in the middle. All rights reserved by the artists. Hashtag create, don't scrape. Hashtag create, don't scrape. I do not know why that last word gets turned into little stars. Anyway, if this is something you're interested in, then you can find the other videos on my YouTube channel under the handle at MonriaTitans, and also on Buy Me a Coffee, where educational quotes regarding video games and literacy are also shared. If you tip through Buy Me a Coffee, 15% of the proceeds minimum go to Kids Need to Read, whose mission is to help children discover the joy of reading and the power of a literate mind. Alrighty. My alarm went off for checking the mail. But, nah, I can do that later. So, today I am going to be doing something a little bit different. Yes, doing Let's Read Some Shit, but usually I do 2 books. Today I am reading aloud portions of 3. And I also pulled them straight from my to-be-read stack for anyone who looks at my blog and or the MonriaTitans Instagram where I post announcements. You'll know that I can't just sit and read one book. I have to hop around between basically a stack of books. So I have the books I'm currently reading. I have the photo of it on the Instagram, and I have a blog post of it with the photo. So I snagged 3 books from there to give you an idea of the things that I like to read. 'Cause why the fuck not? Alright. So, today I will be reading portions of The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle, The Affinity Between Us by Melissa Sweeney. I was part of the Kickstarter for that. And If You Could See the Sun by Anne Liang. These tend to go about an hour-ish, can be longer, can be shorter. And they go as follows. Read the summary on the back of the book if applicable, though it can sometimes be found on the inside covers. Read the foreword and preface if applicable. If there is no introduction, read part of the first chapter. And I forgot to write down when I switched to the scene. That's fine. Alright, so I will start with The Last Unicorn. Peter S. Beagle. There is a summary on the back of the book. Although, quick bit about this. So when I was looking up the books on bookshop.org because, yes, when in the description there will be affiliate links because I'm affiliated with them. Love them so much. Moving on. When I was looking up the book, The Last Unicorn, I could not find the cover I have. They have that's a beautiful cover, that multicolored thingamajig. Mine is yellow. Yellow, red, and black. Absolutely gorgeous. Both of them are, but I was stunned that I could not find my cover. So if you go to the To Be Read blog, I should update that slideshow because right now I just have, side note, right now I just have what it looks like from the side on the spine. I should update the slideshow with the front of the books. Hopefully I remember to do that. So, moving on. Reading the summary. The unicorn lived in a lilac wood, and she lived all alone. So she ventured out from the safety of the enchanted forest on a quest for others of her kind. Joined along the way by the bumbling magician Schmendrick and the indomitable Molly Grue, the unicorn learns all about the joys and sorrows of life and love before meeting her destiny in the castle of a despondent monarch and confronting the creature that would drive her kind to extinction. All right. And there's praise for the book. Well deserved. I'm not done with it yet. I'm mostly done. All right, so there is no foreword or preface. Yeah, so the one you're looking at says there's an introduction. The one I have does not have an introduction. It goes from praise straight to the book. Though it does have a, to the memory of Dr. Alfred Dapper, who saw a wild unicorn in the Maine woods in 1673, and for Robert Nathan, who has seen one or two in Los Angeles. Cute. Alright, so, Chapter 1, how far, since they don't have the preface, how long is Chapter 1? "21 pages. Alright. No, I'm not reading the whole thing. Alright. Chapter 1. The unicorn lived in a lilac wood, and she lived all alone. She was very old, though she did not know it, and she was no longer the careless color of sea foam, but rather the color of snow falling on a moonlit night. But her eyes were still clear and unwearied, and she still moved like a shadow on the sea. She did not look anything like a horned horse, as unicorns are often pictured, but smaller and cloven-hoofed, and possessing that oldest, wildest grace that horses have never had. That deer have only... Oh, I get it. That deer have only in a shy, thin imitation, and goats in dancing mockery. Her neck was long and slender, making her head seem smaller than it was, and the mane that fell almost to the middle of her back was as soft as dandelion fluff, and as fine as circus. Or, no, cirrus. Since I don't know how to pronounce it, Cirrus. She had pointed ears and thin legs with feathers of white hair at the ankles, and the long horn above her eyes shone and shivered with its own seashell light even in the deepest midnight. She had killed dragons with it, and healed a king whose poisoned wound would not close, and knocked down ripe chestnuts for bear cubs. Unicorns are immortal. It is their nature to live alone in one place, usually a forest where there is a pool clear enough for them to see themselves. For they are a little vain, knowing themselves to be the most beautiful creatures in all the world, and magic besides. They mate very rarely, and no place is more enchanted than one where a unicorn has been born. The last time she had seen another unicorn, the young virgins who still came seeking her now and then had called to her in a different tongue. But then, she had no idea of months and years and centuries, or even of seasons. It was always spring in her forest, because she lived there, and she wandered all day among the great beech trees, keeping watch over the animals that lived in the ground and under bushes and nests and caves, earths and treetops. Generation after generation, wolves and rabbits alike, they hunted and loved, and had children and died. And as the unicorn did nothing of these things, she never grew tired of watching them. One day it happened that two men with long bows rode through her forest, hunting for deer. The unicorn followed them, moving so warily that not even the horses knew she was near. The sight of men filled her with an old, slow, strange mixture of tenderness and terror. She never let one see her if she could help it, but she liked to watch them ride by and hear them talking. I mislike the feel of this forest, the elder of the two hunters grumbled. Creatures that live in a unicorn's wood learn a little magic of their own in time, mainly concerned with disappearing. We'll find no game here. Unicorns are long gone, the second man said, if indeed they ever were. This is a forest like any other. Then why do the leaves never fall here, or the snow? I tell you, there is one unicorn left in the world. Good luck to the lonely old thing, I say. And as long as it lives in this forest, there won't be a hunter takes so much as a titmouse home at his saddle. Ride on, you'll see. I know their ways, unicorns. From books, answered the other. Only from books and tales and songs. Not in the reign of 3 kings has there been Not in the reign of 3 kings has there been even a whisper of a unicorn seen in this country or any other. You know no more about unicorns than I do, for I've read the same books and heard the same stories, and I've never seen one either. The first hunter was silent for a time, and the second one whistled sourly to himself. Or is that sorely? Nope, sourly to himself. Sourly. Then the first said, My great-grandmother saw a unicorn once. She used to tell me about it when I was little. Oh, indeed. Did she capture it with a golden bridle? No, she didn't have one. You don't have to have a golden bridle to catch a unicorn. That part's the fairy tale. You only need to be pure of heart. Yes, the younger man chuckled. Did she ride her unicorn then, bareback under the trees like a nymph in the early days of the world? My great-grandmother was afraid of large animals, said the first hunter. She didn't ride it, but she sat very still, and the unicorn put its head in her lap and fell asleep. My great-grandmother never moved till it woke. What did it look like? Pliny describes the unicorn as being ferocious, similar in the rest of its body to a horse, with the head of a deer, the feet of an elephant, the tail of a bear, a deep bellowing voice, and a single black horn 2 cubits in length. And the Chinese, my great-grandmother said only that the unicorn had a good smell. She never could abide the smell of any beast, even a cat or a cow, let alone a wild thing, but she loved the smell of the unicorn. She began to cry once, telling me about it. Of course, she was a very old woman then, and cried at anything that reminded her of her youth. Let's turn around and hunt somewhere else, the second hunter said abruptly. The unicorn stepped softly into a thicket as they turned their horses, and took up the trail only when they were well ahead of her once more. The men rode in silence until they were nearing the edge of the forest, when the second hunter asked quietly, "Why did they go away, do you think, if there ever were such things?" "Who knows? Times change. Would you call this age a good one for unicorns?" "No, but I wonder if any man before us ever thought his time a good time for unicorns. And it seems to me now that I have heard stories, but I was sleepy with wine, or I was thinking of something else. Well, no matter. There's light enough yet to hunt, if we hurry. Come." They broke out of the woods, kicked their horses to a gallop, and dashed away. But before they were out of sight, the first hunter looked back over his shoulder and called, just as though he could see the unicorn standing in shadow, "Stay where you are, poor beast. This is no world for you. Stay in your forest and keep your trees green and your friends long-lived. Pay no mind to young girls, for they never become anything more than silly old women. And good luck to you." I'll cut it there. Yeah. Reading this silently, I can do. I read it aloud, my mind skips. Still a good book, though. What page am I on? I am on, because I'm currently, again, this is on my TBR Stack. I'm on page 238. Out of 238, now I'm curious. How many pages is this? I'm on 238 out of 294. Ooh. I wonder if I can make myself finish this. Make like it's a chore. No, I wonder if I can finish this without interruption, without having to skip. Alright, so moving on to the Affinity Between Us. By Melissa Sweeney. I am on page 184. Out of 534. Well, damn. Alright. There is a quick summary on the back of the book. Kevin is framed for a murder that didn't happen. Nikki lost both her older siblings and can't trust her remaining family. And Derek wakes up, memories lost, on an island inhabited by beings called humans. From the birth of these three siblings, two tween deities stir from their 500-year slumber and reintroduce themselves back into the world. If you're looking for queer stories, this is definitely one of them. And I was part of the Kickstarter for this, for books 1 and 2. And the Kickstarter for book 3, I think just finished. Good book, good series. Although this very first sentence of the book had me wondering who proofread this. Now, all right. How many pages are in? Oh, Melissa Sweeney did her own cover art. It's awesome. All right. How? Chapter 3. Chapter 2. Chapter 2. All right. Well, Chapter 1 starts on page 5 and ends on page 15. So it's 10 pages long. Okay, cool. With a really tiny font. Oh, first time I mentioned font. All right, so I'll go to Wherever is a good stopping point. So, alright, so chapter 1. Kevin. Alright, he tried to defend his innocence from those who called him a monster, but a gun pressed between his wings and threatened him to keep moving. Lightning cracked in the humid sky. Just a few hours ago, he'd been with Nikki and Derek, heading to Morgan's for after-school ice cream. Today wasn't supposed to end like this. The guard led Kevin up the stairs leading to the asilo, the group of large government buildings making up their leaders' headquarters. He'd only been this close during school field trips, glorifying their leader's lineage. He never expected to be led here for his own execution. Excuse me, Kevin said. The guard, paying him no mind, shoved him through the automated doors. The fluorescent lights stung his sensitive eyes. The tiles were too shiny, the walls too white. Signs pointed to doctor offices and meeting rooms. A group of idle guard dogs watched Kevin get dragged through the foyer. His makeup was smeared from the struggle. His wings, 10 feet each of feather and bone, were streaked with rain and blood. There's an image. If he'd seen himself sobbing while evading authorities, he too would have called himself a criminal. He'd heard it on their earpieces. He was the prime suspect in Derek's murder. But that wasn't the case, and he needed to explain everything as soon as possible. His hyperventilation was doing him no favors. His guard brought him to a seat. What is wrong with me? Small font. His guard brought him to a set of elevators. This way, they said. No, please, Kevin begged, but he tripped getting in. He hadn't been in an elevator before. He wondered how it worked. The guard hit a button on the wall for the top floor. No, he tried to struggle, but the moment he moved, the guard grabbed his shoulders and restrained him against the wall. He let out a gasp in pain. This wasn't right. He was a good kid. He had a part-time job at his family's coffee house. Things like this didn't happen to people like him. Tears he'd been trying to suppress let go, and he sobbed into the cold, sterile wall. I'm sorry, he said. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean. The words kept popping in his throat. The explanation for what had happened to Derek, he couldn't get it out. The elevator shuddered to a stop, and the guard half-walked, half-dragged Kevin down a new hallway. And for the first time it occurred to me, Kevin might be claustrophobic. He is a giant bird. Sort of. It was windowless and smelled of bleach and blood, with the faintest hint of salt. The taste of his tears, maybe. The guard walked up to a random door and used something on their wrist to open it. They unveiled a small room with an operating table in the center, medical equipment, and a lonely chair. 2 other guards were waiting, one with a clipboard, the other putting on a pair of medical gloves. Delayed panic sparked in Kevin's heart. He knew it'd make him look more guilty, but he couldn't stop himself from struggling. His flight instincts had been berating his overworked brain for hours. He was becoming desperate. Stop it! The guard yelled, and something rammed into the back of Kevin's head. Sky dots burst into his vision. In his vision, he slumped forwards. Real physical pain he wasn't used to vibrated from his head down to his tail feathers. The guard sat him down on the chair. His wrists were tied behind his back and wings. No, chained. 2 clicks, and he was immobilized. His wings, too tired to take flight, wilted like trodden flowers. Trodden. Trodden. A quiet moment. Soft beeping and the guards discussing something important. His ears were clogged. Slowly, his mind caught up with his thoughts. The reality of his situation was not good, and he was too stupid and scared to fix things. He felt himself quickly giving up. Tears dripped off his freckled nose. He wanted Derek back. He wanted Nikki to console him, his mother to pet his hair like she used to, and Dad assuring him that he'd take care of everything. Because that's what they did. They were family. They took care of each other. The guard with the clipboard studied the words written on it. Please, Kevin said, we need to find my sibling. He didn't die when he touched the barriera. He fell through. I couldn't believe it when I saw it, but it's true. The guards looked at him like he was becoming what he feared, a disillusioned... Oh, I did say it right. Disillusioned bird with blood on his hands for a crime he must have committed because no other answer made sense. He swallowed. He isn't dead, he confirmed. I didn't kill my twin. The guard frowned. That's a case nobody's going to believe you on, kid. 2 heavy knocks struck the door like bullets. The guards snapped upright, tails alert. They straightened their uniforms and hair to appear ready for company. Yes, your leaderships. The door slid open. The newcomers were saluted in harsh yellow light, making them appear dreamlike. And that's what they were to them, especially to Kevin. Surely he wasn't in front of the world's leaders. He hadn't done anything to warrant this type of meeting. Nadia and Mikhail. The 2 leaders who held the world in their hands stood before Kevin Harrow. He stopped breathing. He'd never seen them so close up. Nadia, a timber wolf crossbreed with hair cropped to a sharp point. Mikhail, a dog with a smile you wore when committing a crime. Their families were descendants of the first leaders of Raylene, when it was birthed from dust and decay, the howling canines who rose up to remake the world. Kevin bowed, offering him the back of his neck. The 2 leaders stared him down. Their eyes almost glowed with intensity. They gave the room a beat. Then Nadia asked, Why are you still here? Get out. Now. I'm going to stop it there. Hopefully, thou art intrigued. I love the imagery. They paint a decent picture with their words. Alright, and moving on to If You Could See the Sun. By Anne Liang. And the summary for the book is not on the back, but on the inside front cover. This I actually haven't read at all yet. It's on, like I said, it's on the list. Ooh, decent-ish font size. The book with the best font size so far is The Last Unicorn. At least my copy. I don't know what that one has. Anyway, summary. No secret is safe. Fuck. Okay, apparently I need to adjust the settings on my phone again. Because while it's pointed at my face, it's not supposed to go dark. And it's pointed at my face. Alright, so If You Could See the Sun. Summary. Front cover. Front inside cover. No secret is safe. Hello? Thank you. No secret is safe. Alice's sun has always felt invisible. Let me reread that. Alice Sun has always felt invisible at her elite Beijing International Boarding School, where she is the only scholarship student in a sea of uber-wealthy classmates. But she has a plan. Be top of the class, attend a prestigious university, secure a killer job, and finally lift her family out of poverty. Then her parents drop a bomb. They can no longer afford her tuition, even with the scholarship. But that's the least of Alice's problems, because she has started uncontrollably turning invisible. As in, completely, physically, invisible. Alice realizes there's an upside to her strange new power. Unparalleled access to the secrets of China's most rich and influential teens. Soon, Alice has a new plan. Offer her invisibility services to find out what her classmates want to know. For a price. But between balancing schoolwork, a growing relationship with academic rival turned business partner Henry, and stealing secrets, things start to fall through the cracks. As the tasks escalate from petty scandals to actual crimes, tasks escalate. From petty scandals to actual crimes, Alice must decide if helping her family is worth losing her conscience, or even her life. Alrighty. And I mentioned before I haven't started reading this yet, so I am on page 0 of 341. Oh, I never considered an acknowledgement section. Acknowledgements. I'll read that. Unless there's an introduction, because I forgot. There isn't. Go straight to chapter 1. So I'll read, because I never actually considered that. So I'll read the acknowledgements section, which is 1, 2, 3. 3-ish. I'll read that, then part of chapter 1. Alright, acknowledgements. I have a small confession to make. When I was drafting this book in the dim light of my college dorm, I would often stop and daydream about one day writing the acknowledgement section. Acknowledgement section. That I get to actually live out this silly daydream now is thanks to many, many people. Thank you to my superhero of an agent, Kathleen Russell, for believing in this book and in me. From our very first email exchange, I knew it would be a dream to have you in my corner, and I remain in constant awe of how masterfully you handle everything. None of this would have been possible without your enthusiasm, wisdom, and guidance. Thank you also to the entire team at Andrea Brown Literary Agency for all your incredible work. Thank you to Rebecca Kuss. Kuss. For seeing straight into the heart of my story and opening up the doors to the publishing world. And to Claire Stetzer for taking me in and making me feel at home. My endless thanks to the brilliant Bess Braswell. Bess. Bess. Braswell, Brittany Mitchell, Laura Giannino. Close. Laura. Giannino, Justine Shaw, Lynette Kim, and everyone at Inkyard Press for your dedication and support. A huge thank you to Gigi Lau and Carolina Rodriguez Foyenmayer. That's actually close. Fuenmayor. For the cover of my dreams, I still cannot believe how stunning it is and how lucky I am. Thank you to the extraordinary Katrina Esquerdo. I didn't even pick it up. Esquadero. Wow, I'm butchering names. I am so sorry. Escudero. For everything you've done. More thanks to my wonderful former teachers, Mr. Locke, who encouraged my writing all the way back when I was a very obnoxious Year 7 student. Year 7 student? Why does it cut off? Mr. Mellon, who taught me how to craft an essay and sparked my interest in the humanities. Ms. Nuttall, who told me I was a writer and helped me believe it too. Ms. Devlin, who inspires me every day with her passion and knowledge, and is a literal saint. And is a literal saint. All my thanks to the authors I admire, both as writers and as people. To Chloe Gong, for being such a huge source of inspiration and serotonin. Please know I will always be one of your biggest fangirls. To Grace Lee, for being one of the very first people to read this book. And for being as incredibly kind as you are talented. To Gloria Chow, for being so welcoming and generous and for paving the way with your words. To Zolfa Katau, I'm going to spell that. To Zoulfa Katouh, for making me cry over your book and also over your sweetest messages about mine. I'm so glad to know you. To Vanessa Lynn, for being so supportive from the beginning and for being so patient in explaining how taxes work. To M. Liu, for seeing the heart of my book and understanding all the references. To Miranda Sun, for hyping me up all the way back when I first signed with my agent, and for your delightful company online. To Roselle Lim, for taking the time to read this and writing such a lovely blurb. I couldn't be more honored. Thank you to Sarah Brewer, for being the first person to read one of my earlier embarrassing attempts at a book and saying such kind things. Your encouragement meant more to my teen self than I can express. A huge thank you to all the lovely book bloggers and librarians and early readers. To everyone who celebrated with me on Twitter when my book announcement went live, who commented the nicest things on my cringe TikTok videos and Instagram posts, who liked my excerpt in the Facebook beta readers and critique partners group, who added my book on Goodreads when there wasn't a cover or even a blurb. You're the reason I do this and get to do this. Thank you to Phoebe Bear and Fiona Zai. XIA. For being amazing friends and amazing in general. Phoebe, remember when I mentioned this new book idea I had at brunch and you said I'd read the shit out of that? I'm infinitely grateful you did. And Fee, who cheered for me despite not knowing what YA is. Wow. Who cheered for me despite not knowing what YA is. I'll always cheer for you too in everything you do. Thank you also to the Grovians. I'll spell that. KHOROVIANS, who are some of the warmest and most talented people I know. Thank you to Taylor Swift for existing. Thank you to my little sister, Alyssa Liang, for being my first and biggest fan. Thank you for your puns and your patience, your constant reassurance that the book isn't bad, and your excitement, which often exceeds even mine. Though I'd been prepared to remain an only child, I'm grateful every day that I'm not. And finally, thank you, Mama and Baba, who are prouder of me than I deserve, and far less strict than the parents in this book. The only reason I'm able to get anywhere is because I know there will always be a home waiting for me with warm clothes and sliced fruit and all my favorite dishes. That is the acknowledgments, and going forward, I will look for that section. Ha! And then the very beginning, to my wonderful parents who aren't allowed to read this, and to my little sister Lissa, who would like everyone to know how awesome she is. All right. I didn't see how long chapter 1 was, or if I did, I forgot. And chapter 1 starts on page 7, so 7 to 30. Whoa. All right. No, I'm not reading the whole thing. 7 to 30. And because I've got dyscalculia, I am not able to do that math in my head. 30 minus 7. 23. But it starts at 7. God damn it. Or is that still 23 pages? I don't know. Anyway, moving on. My parents only ever invite me out to eat for one of 3 reasons. 1, someone's dead, which, given the 90-something members in our family WeChat group alone, happens more often than you'd think. 2, it's someone's birthday. Or 3, they have a life-changing announcement to make. Sometimes it's a combination of all of the above, like when my great-grand aunt passed away on the morning of my 12th birthday, and my parents decided to inform me over a bowl of fried sauce noodles that they'd be sending me off to Arrington International Boarding School. But it's August now. The sweltering summer heat palpable even in the air-conditioned confines of the restaurant, and no one in my immediate family has a birthday this month, which of course leaves only 2 other possibilities. The anxious knot in my stomach tightens. It's all I can do to not run back out through the glass double doors. Call me weak or whatever, but I'm in no state to handle bad news of any kind, especially not today. Alice, what you look so nervous for, yeah? Mama asks as an unsmiling, kapow-clad waitress leads us over to our table in the back corner. We squeeze past a crowded table of elderly people sharing a giant pink-tinted cream cake shaped like a peach, in what appears to be a company lunch with men sweating in their stuffy collared shirts and women dabbing white powder onto their cheeks. A few of them twist around and stare when they notice my uniform. I can't tell if it's because they recognize the tiger emblazoned on my blazer pocket or because of how grossly pretentious the design looks compared to the local school's tracksuits. I'm not nervous, I say, taking the seat between her and Baba. My face just always looks like this. This isn't exactly a lie. My aunt once joked that if I were ever found at a crime scene, I'd be the first one arrested based solely on my expression and body language. Never seen anyone as jumpy as you, she'd said. Must have been a mouse in your past life. I resented the comparison then, but I can't help feeling like a mouse now. One that's about to walk straight into a trap. Mama moves to pass me a laminated menu. As she does, light spills onto her bony hands from the nearby window, throwing the ropey white scar running down her palm into a sharp relief. A pang of all too familiar guilt flares up inside me like an open flame. Hi, Z, Mama calls me. What do you want to eat? Anything's fine, I reply, quickly averting my gaze. Baba breaks apart his disposable chopsticks with a loud snap. Kids these days don't know how lucky they are, he said, rubbing the chopsticks together to remove any splinters before helping me do the same. all grew up in honey jar. You know what I eat at your age? Sweet potatoes. Every day, sweet potato. That actually sounds good. Oh, come on. Yeah, sweet potatoes every day, depending on how they're cooked. That actually sounds good. As he launches into a more detailed description of daily life in the rural village of Henan, Mama waves the waitress over and lists off what sounds like enough dishes to feed the entire restaurant. Ma, I protest, dragging the word out in Mandarin. We don't need. Yes, you do, she says firmly. You always starve whenever school starts. Very bad for your body. Despite myself, I suppress the urge to roll my eyes. Less than 10 minutes ago, she'd been commenting on how my cheeks had grown rounder over the summer holidays. Only by her logic is it possible to be too chubby and dangerously undernourished at the same time. When Mama finally finishes ordering, she and Baba exchange a look, then turn to me with expression so solemn, I blurt out the first thing that comes to mind. Is my grandpa okay? Mama's thin brows furrow, accentuating the stern features of her face. Of course, why you ask? Nothing, never mind. I allow myself a small sigh of relief, but my muscles remain tense, as if bracing for a blow. Look, whatever the bad news is, can we get it over with quickly? The awards ceremony is in an hour, and if I'm going to have a mental breakdown, I need at least 20 minutes to recover before I get on stage. Baba blinks. Awards ceremony? What ceremony? My concern temporarily gives way to exasperation. The awards ceremony for the highest achievers in each year level. He continues to stare at me blankly. Come on, Ba. I've mentioned it at least 15 times this summer. I'm only exaggerating a little. Sad as it sounds, those fleeting moments of glory under the bright auditorium spotlight are all I've been looking forward to the past couple of months. Even if I have to share them with Henry Lee. As always, the name fills my mouth with something sharp and bitter like poison. God, I hate him. I hate him and his flawless porcelain skin and immaculate uniform and his composure as untouchable and unfailing as his ever-growing list of achievements. I hate the way people look at him and see him, even if he's completely silent, head down, and working at his desk. I've hated him ever since he sauntered into school 4 years ago, brand new and practically glowing. By the end of his first day, he beat me in our history unit test by a whole 2.5 marks, and everyone knew his name. Just thinking about it now makes my fingers itch. Baba frowns, looks at Mama for confirmation. Are we meant to go to this ceremony thing? It's students only, I remind him, even though it wasn't always this way. The school decided to make it a more private event after my classmate's famous mother, Crystal Lamb, showed up to the ceremony and accidentally brought the paparazzi with her. There were photos of our auditorium floating around all over Weibo for days afterwards. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is they're handing out awards, and yes, all you talk about is award, Mama interrupts, impatient. Where are your priorities, Does that school of yours not teach you right values? It should be family first, then health, then saving for retirement, then are you even listening? I'm spared from having to lie when the food arrives. In the fancier Peking duck restaurants like Quanjude, the kind of restaurants my classmates go to frequently without someone having to die first, the chef always wheel out the roast duck on a tray and cover it up beside your table. It's almost an elaborate performance. The crisp glazed skin coming apart. I hate it when they have finite words like that. I hate it. All right, I need to go back. Hyphen threw me off. Wheel the roast duck on a tray and carve it up beside your table. It's almost an elaborate performance. The crisp glazed skin coming apart with every flash of the blade to reveal the tender white meat and sizzling oil underneath. But the waitress simply presents us with a whole duck chopped into large chunks, the head still attached and everything. Mama must catch the look on my face because she sighs and turns the duck head away from me, muttering something about my Western sensibilities. More dishes come, one by one. Fresh cucumbers drizzled with vinegar and mixed with chopped garlic. Thin layered scallion pancakes baked to a perfect crisp. Soft tofu swimming in a golden brown sauce and sticky rice cakes dusted with a fine coat of sugar. I can already see Mama measuring out the food with her shrewd brown eyes, like most likely calculating how many extra meals she and Baba can make from the leftovers. I kind of do that. I force myself to wait until both Mama and Baba have taken a few bites of their food to venture. I'm pretty sure you guys were going to tell me something important. And... Alright. And I'm going to cut it there. Cliffhanger. Anyway, go. I'm liking the book so far. Clearly having trouble reading aloud. As usual. But that's where I'm going to cut it. So, hello? There we go. Real quick, just chatting, because I forgot to mention this in the beginning. Had I waited 5 days, it would have been exactly 1 month since the Let's Read Some Shit video. I thought that was funny enough to mention, and then completely forgot about it because I was fighting technology. As usual. I wonder if fighting technology is part of my brand at this point. Or is it just fighting... Excuse me, hiccup. Or is it fighting pixel chat? That's part of my brand. Speaking of fighting pixel chat... There we go. Or is it just fighting pixel chat? That is part of my brand. Oh well. There was something else. Oh! And if you were following along on my ta-da list... Ta-da! Lists. You'll know I've been avoiding my main computer setup due to it's probably, at this point, it's probably my sitting at this computer for hours on end is probably causing my neck, shoulder, and upper back, lower back pain. It's spread to upper. But yeah. So for most, not all, because I did a video on March 10th. So for most of March and part of April, I was basically avoiding this, which is why I wasn't streaming, or avoiding this desk setup, which is why I wasn't streaming, and why I wasn't making videos. But because my bedroom setup, which has a standing desk, I'd be standing desk, working on things, watching DVDs, because my PlayStation 3 can no longer connect to the internet. Sad face. But that's fine. I have discs. Discs. As in, you know, back when they gave you the disc for a video game that I can play on that if I choose to do so. And I got DVDs and Blu-rays. Nice collection. I should share a photo if I haven't already. I am proud of that collection too. Anyway, sorry. Side note. Moving on. But yeah, so I've been able to do blogging. Hello. I've been able to do blogging. Thank you. On the standing desk, so I wasn't going nuts doing nothing. ADHD must do something. Must do something. I do not relax by doing nothing. I relax by doing something. Only odd to the neurotypicals. But with that out of the way, I will be exporting this to YouTube. I feel like I'm forgetting something. That's fine. Did I mention I was pulling books from my to be read list? I think I did. All right, so I mentioned this before. I'm an affiliate of Bookshop.org, the Etsy for small business bookstores. And this is my bookshop. I should probably come up with a snazzier title. Rendezvous Point? When I was in college, I wanted to start, not a restaurant. I wanted to do, how did I forget the name of it while I'm talking about it, ADHD? So what's it called? A computer? It's not a computer cafe, but I wanted it, or is it? But I wanted it to be a place where people who did not have access to computers, kind of like the library, you could come in and use the computer. And I wanted it to be a book area. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to have like a mini coffee shop in it, and I wanted to call it the Rendezvous Point. That's what I wanted to do. But, ooh, maybe I could call this the Rendezvous Point. I'm liking the sound of it. But so I don't have to change the link, I'll just call this the Rendezvous Point, but keep the link bookshop.org/shop/MonriaTitans. Keep things simple. I'm loving the sound of this. But I call it the Etsy for small business bookstores. If you go to bookshop.org, you are helping small business bookstores. As of right now, they have raised, what is that? Is that million? $30,883,387.65 for local bookstores. And if you go through my link, I get a commission. And actually, one thing I also like to do is, since I'm an affiliate, I get myself an affiliate link, buy books I want through my affiliate link, and then I get a commission. Because why not? I do the same thing with Amazon, which I think everyone should do. But that's another story. All the books I shared today, or read portions of today, there will be a bookshop.org affiliate link in the YouTube description. Do go, please. And even if you don't go through me, just check out bookshop.org in general. They do great things, and unlike Amazon, they actually pay their taxes. So, and now we come to a close. Remember, because this is also part of the weekend game show, even though it's not the weekend, remember, we are gamers not because we don't have a life, but because we choose to have many, which can also be said of readers. If anyone asks why you like video games, remind them a game is a problem-solving activity approached with a playful attitude, a quote by Jesse Shell. And if anyone gives you shit for your interests, tell them you may not like video games, but what I learned from them is this: no enemies in front of you means you are going the wrong way. And I'm suddenly remembering a quote from Stephen King: if you want to be a writer, you need to read a lot and write a lot. Which, funnily enough, can be said of people who want to design games. So, thank you for watching. May every decision you make be in the spirit of fairness, and may the rest of your day not go to shit. See you next time. Oh, we also almost made it to an hour. Ha! See you next time.